Hi everyone, welcome back to another draft with Shadow Wolf 252. Today we'll be going on another Gatecrash draft. We'll queue up, join, and while I wait for the round to start, I'll just put this on pause. Okay, and welcome to another draft. To start, well, Wrecking Ogre is quite a nice Gruul card, double strike Blood Rush. I don't see too much well, there's a Scab Clan Charter in this pack. I mean, there's actually really quite some nice stuff. The Daring Skyjack, the Frilled Oculus, Cartel Aristocrat. White of Precinct 6 is great in a Dimir deck. Lots of good cards, but I think the Wrecking Ogre is quite a bomb. It's a nice Blood Rush card, a little bit hard to fix with mana, but I like it. Hopefully it won't steer me too wrong. Let's see what we get next. Oh, wow. A Consuming Aberration. You know, I am definitely going to take this and try to make a nice Dimir deck. I wish I could take both this and Call the Nightwing, but, well, maybe it'll cycle back. But I think one of the nice things about Dimir is that it tends to be pretty open. People are sort of hesitant to draft it because it needs to be a more controlling deck, not big with 2-drops. But what we're going to want after this is we're going to want maybe some Corpse Blockades. They're pretty good. A nice big toughness creature that will keep some attacks from coming through. Bane Alley Brokers are also great, so hopefully we'll get some of those. I just really don't know why you would... I know that Dimir is sort of difficult to draft, but why you would just pass up a first pick Consuming Aberration. Okay, and on that note, I think... well... The Madcap skills is pretty tempting, but if we do want to go Dimir, which I think is going to be a little bit easier to get cards for than Gruul, at least so far. We'll see how far it opens. Then Death Cult Rogue is probably one of the best Dimir cards. It's a great Cypher enabler, and it's just pretty invaluable in any decent Dimir deck. So now, well, considering I think we should take the Sepulchre Primordial. It's a bit expensive, but I think out of all the Primordials, it's my favorite. And especially in the Dimir deck, where you're milling their creatures, you'll have plenty of things to do it. Although, you notice that there is a Slaughterhorn here, which is a good Gruul creature, but I think that it's for the best if we go Dimir. Hopefully, other cards we'll get back would be something like Death's Approach, Shadow Slice. Mental Vapors is okay, but Shadow Slice in particular, I think, is a underrated card in Dimir Limited. But not professional, so I don't really know. Gridlock, incidentally, I've heard is not the best in a Dimir deck. It's really useful in Simic decks. I am tempted to take it, but I'm not sure. We'll see. And here I'm thinking either Sage's Row Denizen or Death's Approach. You know, I think we'll have plenty of chances at Sage's Row Denizen, but removal is great, and in a Dimir deck, Death's Approach really can do a lot of damage, so let's go for it. And here is definitely the Corpse Blockade. We are going to have a sort of controlling deck by nature, so we're going to want something to keep attacks from going through. Corpse Blockade is really nice. In here, I'm not too sure, honestly. I'm actually somewhat tempted, for the same reason, to take the Clinging Anemones. They can actually be a pretty nice wall, especially since they'll tend to evolve a fair bit. So, let's give it a try. Hands of Binding is a must in any Dimir deck. Although, the Oars of Gilgate would be pretty nice if we were to splash white, which might be necessary, but so far I haven't seen too many white cards that are really good and playable. I will definitely take another Death Cult Rogue. And this is... Spell Rupture is great in Simic, but I think it's a little bit less great in Dimir. It's not terrible, but do we really... I'm not too keen on Slate Street Ruffian. I think they will have plenty of chance at either, but let's take the Spell Rupture for now. Combined with the Consuming Aberration, actually, because that thing gets huge. Maybe that was actually the better choice in the end. Nothing good for us here. I'm a bit bitter about this card after last game, but I think if we're just going to end up hate drafting, the Spired Tracer would be much more annoying for us. And indeed, we get back Shadow Slice, which I am actually pretty happy about. I think it's better than Mental Vapors. But maybe I'm wrong. I'll take a Shadow Alley Dozen. It's never bad to have a cheap creature. This isn't very useful. Pure life gain is never. Okay, so here, Extort plays really well with Cypher because because Cypher spells are cast for free. Yeah, I think a Thrall Parasite is just the best way to go here. This is, again, the only thing this would really work for would be someone who's playing with Assemble the Legion in a slower Boros deck. So, Thrall Parasite I think is the best choice here, especially in our colors. While I am a fan of the Death Cult Rogue, the Dinrova Horror is it's actually a pretty nice card. It puts things in the graveyard, and it's a pretty big body, although I would be more than happy to get this back. Other things that might come back that I would like. Way of the Thief is pretty good. I'd be okay with an Enforcer. It's a bit expensive, and we're not mainly an Extort deck, but we'll see what comes back. Shadow Slice again is a nice one. Shamble Shark. No one's really playing. A Mortar Strider is actually a pretty nice blocker to enable things. Especially in a Dimir deck, it can be really annoying, especially with Corpse Blockade, because you can just keep giving it. I think I'm actually going... I know it sounds stupid, but I think... Or the Gateway Shade. It's difficult. I think this can actually, combined with the Corpse Blockade, can be really annoying. So I'll give this one a try. So I think here... I'm actually really surprised that the Skylight Legionnaire came around. Maybe this is quite a late pick for it, but I don't think that I've seen enough Boros that I would say, oh, let's go into it. And Sapphire Drake is interesting, but it's much better in Simic, although it's definitely a good finisher in case the Aberration doesn't come out. Death's Approach again. Sage's Row Denizen is a nice creature. It's a bit cheaper. I think we'll go for it. Definitely a Cloudfin Raptor. Again, it is technically more of a Simic card, but it's useful. Although the Keyrune is a nice enabler, I still think that there's a chance the Keyrune will come back. The Cloudfin Raptor, on the other hand, probably won't, and I think it'll just be more useful. So Coerced Confession is pretty terrible. It's just too expensive. It's not even... If it was Cypher, then definitely. But it's not. It's just too expensive. We don't really need... So far we're pretty solidly blue-black, so I'm not really looking for too much mana fixing. I think the Incursion Specialist is actually... Let me just check the cost sort. Well, we are a bit higher, but I think that this will be a decent card, especially later on. It can enable Cypher. Nimbus Swimmer is a pretty good card in Simic. I think that people underestimate it, but I think for us here, another Shadow Slice, although probably not too many more after this. I'll be happy to take this Gridlock. Okay, so none of the nice cards we wanted to from the first pack came back around. Um, let's... yeah, I might as well take the Consuming Aberration. Definitely like it. I think, well, I don't have any gates, but might as well pick up Way of the Thief in case I do. I'm not going to get probably much better. 2 anemones. Choose the anemones with a gargoyle. Probably a bad choice, but I'll stick with the anemones just to give us some more wall-like stuff. There's really nothing for us here. Just hate picking Ivy Lane Denizens so the Simic and Gruul decks can't get it, I guess. I'm surprised that came around so late. Yeah. Probably won't play that. It does give good evasion if you put in a flyer, but actually we don't have too many flyers. Haven't seen many Metropolis sprites. Those are a nice cheap flyer. I hope I can get some of those, but we'll see what comes up in this third pack. A Biovisionary. Well, there is Metropolis Sprite. At the same time, I feel like a Basilica Screecher might actually be a little bit better. An Undercity Informer is actually not bad either, especially in Dimir deck. It's a nice way to mill. Or even better, a Grizzly Spectacle. And I think that we don't have one of those, so it might be for the best. Hopefully we'll get some of these cards back, but all of these things are pretty nice. This is a nice skill. Man, Spark Trooper, that's a nice card, but not in our colors, as is the Guild Mage. So, Paranoid Delusions, honestly, we'll probably get back. I like it, and I think the Hands of Binding is just too useful. So I think that's what we'll go for. So we do have some options here. Psychic Strike is actually pretty nice, just because it does some of the milling too, but we'll also probably get that one back. Last Thoughts is not as bad. Not bad either. It's actually really quite good in Dimir deck. But I think having a Smog Elemental is nice. It's a flying creature, so it's evasive. It'll enable some of the Cipher cards. Oh, definitely the Duskmantle Guildmage. It's really good in Dimir, and there are a lot of good cards in here. The Balustrade Spy, Death Approach again, Paranoid Delusions again, even a Syndic of Tie. Well, I mean, that's great in Orzhov and even in Boros, but it's a great card. I'm surprised no one's picked it up. White has definitely opened up, sort of, but the Duskmantle Guildmage is definitely the best. And clearly no one is in Orzhov, because this deck just has some great cards for it. Most notably 1000 Lashes. I honestly just gonna take this out of hate, and maybe I don't think I'll splash for it, but there was nothing else that was really. My God, and a Sunhome Guildmage? Clearly no one is in Boros. No one was in Dimir either, because I definitely don't feel it's cut off. I just don't know what everyone is playing. But definitely another Corpse Blockade is useful here. Voidwalk, not so good in Dimir. There's nothing that I really, outside of the Din Rover Horror, there's nothing that I really would want to use it on. I actually imagine this would be a pretty decent card in a Simic deck. Not for your evolved creatures, obviously, because they don't come back with counters, but for stuff like Crowned Ceratok that you can just flash in over and over and keep evolving your guys. But here I think the best thing for us is, yeah, we have enough creatures, so might as well get another Death Approach. Definitely a Balustrade Spy. And this... We could take an I just don't think that we really have need to... We have Plunder Removal, and 1000 Lashes is just not... I'll actually take the Ruffian here. Not the best, but... Oh well. Man. I can't believe that no one picked up the Guildmage. I'll just take it. Maybe we'll put some White Splash after all. I doubt it, but it's at least giving us the option is nice. Yeah, nothing too good for us here. Pass. Yeah, just take this. So, let's hide. Oh no, we can't hide anymore. So definitely Cloudfin Raptor for useful. Hands of Binding are useful cards. Sort by, I always prefer to sort by mana cost. An Incursion Death Specialist is good, as is a Sage's Road Denizen. Smog Elemental is nice. Grisly Spectacle. Oh, and definitely the Consuming Aberration. The Guild Mage. I'll actually take this Rider with the 2 Corpse Blockades. That can be a really annoying one. Oh, another card that's really annoying with is, well, I forgot the name of it already. We passed it. It's the one that you have to pay 1 and you mill, but I think we have plenty of mill. Well, we never got back, Pyramid Illusions, which is a shame, but I think that altogether we probably have enough ways to mill people around. Well, I would hope, at the very least. Shadow Slice is good. Balustrade Spy. So how many cards? A few more. Thrall Parasite for sure. Oh yeah, the Rogues. So we are at 22. So one more card. I don't think we... If we come up... I don't think that we'll really need a, any more Clinging Enemies. I think a Gridlock is actually pretty okay. Just it's a nice defensive card, and it can also be used to not block things like Consuming Aberration. The one problem with Consuming Aberration is that it can be chump blocked very easily. Granted, it would be pretty broken if it couldn't. I mean, if it did have some sort of invasion, but oh well. Alright, there's not a counter, but I feel like we should be okay with that. We have 15 creatures, but this deck is this sort of deck that's a little bit less creature heavy. We didn't get some stuff back that would have been nice, like the Paranoid Illusions, another Death Cult Rogue, or... Yeah, I already forgot the name of that other vampire that we passed around. But let's give this a try. So, add land. This is not going to require much. Mana fixing. Nice 2-color deck, just like I like. Maybe actually I'll take out a swamp and put in an island. It's always best to be a little bit more towards the center, and we don't... Well, I guess there's Grisly Spectacle, but... Anyway, yeah. Let's see how this goes. Hopefully it'll go well. It's not as good as a Dimir deck I had once. It actually ended up doing really poorly. It was really sad. I got the Consuming Aberration, and I was past Stolen Identity, which is just one of the best Dimir cards. So good. You'd think that deck would have been great, but I'm glad I didn't. In the end, I'm glad I didn't end up going Gruul. This card is a nice card, but we just didn't see too much stuff that was like awesome. Let's go into Gruul. So let's see how this goes. I'll submit it, and I'll see you guys in the first round.